Good evening and welcome to Carter Shed. I've got a little story, so let's begin at the start. In the mid 1980s, no, I went back too far. 2020 will do. I built a shed and I have an idea in my head. Particles, dust, microns, filters, HEPA, the Big Bang. No, I went back too far again. So do I need a fancy dust extraction system for my small shed? I don't do commercial work. It's not even a side hustle. It's just a little hobby in the evening. But I still want to protect my lungs. So I need a two-stage filtration system that filters down to 0.3 microns? Or do I? What if I don't need any filtration? So if your extraction system extracts and exhausts in the same work area, of course you need filtration. But what if my system exhausts in a completely isolated area, not connected to my workspace at all? So here's the idea. We have a hose in the work shed, ready to connect to the tools, and everything else is in an isolated area, the little external shed. So there's a couple of big pros with this idea. I've already spoken about the first one, getting all the nasty stuff coming out the back of the extractor away from the workspace. Okay, when you're going into the small shed to empty it or for any other reason, a dust mask will be a must, but that's not a big hardship. The second one, noise reduction. You're still going to have the noise of the tool in the work shed, but not the vac on top of it, and that can only be a good thing, especially if we're just using the vac to clean up. Thirdly, is going to be space. I'm getting a few big bulky things out of the work shed and into the little shed. That can only be a good thing. Well, maybe not, because it will give me more space for tools. That's maybe actually a con. Okay, so cons. Let's call them problems to solve instead. Problem one. How am I going to turn the system on? That's easy. It's got an automatic start. So when you turn the tool on, the dust system kicks on automatically. Yeah, okay, but what if I want to use it just for cleaning up? Well, I better just bring the switch into the shed. Okay, problem 1B. You're meant to be solving problems, not making them. You're now going to have a big hole in the vac if you've just removed the switch. Yeah. Better make a little plate to cover that hole up. Yeah, that'll sort that out. Okay, so problem 2. I've got my quick connect cable for connecting my tools up to the vac, but it's now out there. So how do I connect it up? well, I'll just extend the plug from the vac into the shed, and then my quick connect cable can pop in there. So problem 3, the workshop shed and the outside shed need to be completely isolated from each other, otherwise the nasty stuff is coming back in and we're back to filtration. So all my interconnections between the two sheds need to be stopping dust and nasty stuff coming back through. So expanding foam, that's going to create a nice barrier, nothing's going to pass back through it. There is one exception where I won't be able to do that for the air hose, but I have a solution for that in mind. So problem 4, still want the hose to reach all 4 corners of the shed. At the start I always thought blast gates ducked in, it's probably not feasible, not a good idea for a shed of this size, more hassle than it's worth probably. So we've got the hose, but I don't want it trailing along the ground creating a tripping hazard. So a boom arm, swing it out, but don't really have the head clearance for doing that in my shed. So what about a simple idea? Magnets. Simple. Click, click. I can bring it across the roof, drop it down to tools over here. I can have it drop down onto the workbench here. I've already got a couple of these steel strips mounted on the ceiling, as you can see. And then as I'm using it, I can decide where I'm going to put a couple extra ones. And the beauty is I can just keep on adding little strips of steel if I need them in a certain place, with how my workflow grows, changes, adapts. And it's such a simple solution, and it's solid, and it's so easy to move around. I've had this idea since 2020, and I'm so chuffed that I finally got it up and working. So that's my little story. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and good evening.